Okay, so this is Rich Pendergast for the Town of Little Lime's regular scheduled WPCA meeting. I'm going to go over the agenda. We have a quorum so far. We have some members that are not available. We have two members. Rob McCarthy is excused. He is traveling. He will try to call in if he can. And Steve Erbowitz has resigned last week. Otherwise, we have other members. I'm going to now share the agenda. Where is it?
We don't have any community participants?
We do. We have Jim Lampos.
Oh, hi,
We
Jim.
did. This is weird. It's sharing my email. It's not open. Hang on a second. You know what? Maybe if I can't find the home tab, entire screen.
You want me to see if I
Okay,
can?
here we go. I got it. So what you should see is the agenda. So just to go over the agenda real quickly, we have the call to order. We have the motion to approve the minutes from December 12th. We have a budget update and expenses regular. We have new invoices. And then we have, it's a little bit different, is next year's budget drafts and highlights. Then we're going to switch to an executive IMA session. I'll explain that when we get to it. And then we're going to come back from that executive IMA session. We'll go to regular business of election of WPCA officers, the chairman, vice chairman, and treasurer. Then we're going to go into the Soundview Sewer Project Miscellaneous Area B and the update on clean water funding and status of additional funding, correspondence, new business, public comment, and adjournment. Any questions on the agenda by WPCA members? Okay. So, can I have a motion to approve the minutes from December 12th?
Almost.
Steve made a motion, so called. Any seconded? Anyone?
I'll second it. This is Randy.
Thank you, Randy. Any discussion about the minutes from December 12th? Any corrections, adjustments, notices? I'm not hearing any, so I'm going to call for a vote on that motion. What I'm going to do is I'm going to poll each member since we're operating virtually. The motion to accept the December 12th minutes. Steve, how do you vote?
Aye.
Aye. Andrea, how do you vote?
Aye, and I did review the video because I wasn't at the meeting.
Randy, how do you vote?
Aye.
Okay. Dimitri, how do you?
Yes.
Yes. Corey, how do you vote?
Aye.
Okay. Any nays? So motion carries, unanimous. The next thing is the budget update. I'm going to try and share. So can you tell me if you can see the WPCA treasurer report?
I can see it.
Okay.
Yes,
Yes.
I can
So I'm going to hand the microphone over to Andrea.
You can hear me, right?
Andrea, you can tell me.
Okay.
Yeah, I can hear you. Go ahead.
All right, so the December expenses was two line items, clerk and legal. And you can see they're reflected in the column that says current year expenditures. With the remaining end of the year balance right now at $54,250.57. So 87.61% of the budget is remaining. However, what's not indicated is what's encumbered. And we believe we have encumbered about 14,000 in legal, and CCM printing and postage for 2,000 hasn't, the invoice hasn't hit yet, and that's been the pump out cards that we've been discussing that Erica's been doing, and the postage for that mail out. So that would be encumbered $23,887.43. So we're doing good with our budget this year. We had no carryovers. So the next page, if you scroll down, Rich, we've had
This,
no
I think you can skip.
no activities with the clean water funds. And if you scroll down, I'm gonna. This is.
Erica, excuse me, Andrea, for one thing.
Go ahead.
This form, the Clean Water Funds, the total consolidated funds on the bottom, that's not related to us.
Nope, that budget comes from the director, finance director. This is her
Right.
budget sheet.
I just want everyone to understand that those line items is for all the accounts, not
Just
WPCA.
clean water.
Yeah, the clean water or the top line.
Yep. Okay.
Okay, so this
Now
next
this is
complicated.
a hard thing to read.
Yeah.
So go ahead, Andrea.
All right, I wanted you to see this is our budget worksheet. And on the very left column are our costs, our budget line items. The second column is a descriptor of what that is, like clerk, office supplies, postage, legal, advertising, consultant, project consultant, testing, which remember from Hawks Nest, so that line item still exists. And then we have the software for Carmody, we have printing, and then other miscellaneous. Now, when we receive this budget sheet, you'll see that it reflects multiple years. So this was 2016 to 17. The next column is 2017 to 18. If we move over to the green column, that's this year. And so that's what you just saw. And if you move over to the blue column, that's what we're going to be talking about now. And we're going to request a motion after our discussion to accept the budget to submit. So what we're looking at is this blue column. And if you want to see, the next two columns are what we're changing from this year and the percent of the change. Now, before I get into the details, the very bottom row, and I'm sorry because this is what we get, and it's actually much longer. I hit a bunch of columns. If you go to the very bottom row, you'll see how much our budget was over the years. So in 2017, 2018, we had a budget of $114,412, which was our largest budget to date. The following year, it was only $7,815. So you can see we've been staying under $100,000 or around that. And the last year, we cut our budget significantly because we had a sizable carry forward that we released because we weren't using it. But this year we have some projects that we do know expenses are coming in. So that's what we're going to talk about. So compared to this current year budget, and the budget year starts July 1st. So we have 6 more months of this year's budget. And this has to go through the approval process. We submit it to the town finance director. It goes to the finance committee. And then we find out what's approved or not. We do have a chance to discuss this budget with the finance committee. So we're asking for a $40,050 increase because we are finding that with the septic pump out and database, we do need an increase for the clerk. We expect the clerk to be working more hours, and right now Erica's averaging about 11 hours a pay period. There's 26 pay periods. So that's an increase from just having a clerk who attends this meeting and does the minutes. The next item, we left basic office supplies. We haven't been using any because we've been doing mostly electronic work, but we do have reserved about $50 a month for office supplies in case we need it. Postage was an increase, and there's several reasons for that. So we already used about $1,000 in postage with the pump out mailing, and we believe that's going to be an annual project. But with this project, we have about 5,000 residents in the town, not residents, homeowners, and we have about 500 homeowners that could be affected by the sewer project. So we anticipate needing at least one mailing to each of those groups, one mailing to all the homeowners, and then possibly a second mailing to those who were involved in the project. So we did put aside $4,740 for postage. Our current legal counsel is $25,000. We increased that by $11,000. So attorneys are pretty expensive. So we average that about $450 an hour. So that doesn't even give us a full 40 hours of legal consult. But we wanted to put some legal advice in there for reviewing contracts or making sure that we're consistent with the regulations. So we had that line item. Let's see, the next one is, let me go down the next one. We didn't think we were going to need anything for consultant, but for project consultant, we do believe we're going to have 2 one-time specific items that we're anticipating related to some of the work in this area. Rich, do you want to say any more about that?
About the project consultant?
No, the project, yeah, the project work. Yes. Do you want to say anything about that?
We have a known items that we've delayed paying, and now that we had renewed help from the state of Connecticut's Department of Environmental Energy Protection, we feel like these expenses are going to come due. The expenses probably classified as one is signing agreements fee, and another one is the private beach associations that are putting a sewer project in as well have made significant expenses for shared resources that we have not paid our share yet. So that is going to basically catch us up with those beach associations investments. So we are honoring our part of the deal. And, you know, if this project didn't go forward, obviously, you know, it'd be something different, but it looks like it's going forward. So now it's time to take those expenses and pay our share, and that's why that's such a big increase. And it's not expenses from just 6 months; it's from a couple of years. The expenses like getting an easement across the property, buying property to put a pump house on, those type of things. The money may be reimbursable by clean water funds for a grant and forgivable loan and financing. But you have to buy some of these things, you have to do some of these things before you get reimbursement from the state, because it's just like our design plan. We have to find someone to do the design before we can submit reimbursements for the state.
Okay. The next line item is Carmody. That's pretty fixed. It's the software. We expect it to be about 3,200 this year. We did pay just under 3,000, but conversations with them, I expect that to go up. Printing, there's a zero that got dropped. We did this too many times. That should be 1,000, not 100.
I was
And I
wondering
already, I already explained that with the CCM. It's coupled with the printing. That's the postcard. Miscellaneous, we normally put in about 5,000, but we haven't been using it. So we thought, okay, we'll put a placeholder for about $700. So the total budget we'll be going in with is $102,872. That's what we're going to submit with our justifications. So we did a lot of trimming, but we think we're presenting a reasonable budget with that will cover us. We don't want to under and we don't want to over. So did anyone have any comments?
If I could say one thing before we do the comments, Andrea. We always try to pick a budget that's reasonable. It's built on legs, and it's tough for us to do because we're not doing something that's repeatable. We're doing something that's first time, and we also don't spend the money if we don't use it. So we don't try to find ways to use up our budget, something like that. So our budget goes up and down.
Yes.
I don't know how the Board of Finance is going to react to this. But the idea is that we're trying to follow their process outlined by them to put in what is reasonable for what you need to operate without causing some kind of special concern or not doing what the committee's supposed to be doing. Now I'll be quiet. Any questions from WPCA members?
I have a question, Richard. The lawyer charges $450 an hour.
I can answer
That's
that.
actually incorrect. That's the lawyer charge. There's a bond lawyer that charges one rate, and there's a municipal lawyer that charges a different rate. So depending on what it is, but the bond lawyer is the most expensive rate, and the bond lawyer is the one that prepared our referendum, and the bond lawyer also is preparing the financial instruments to get clean water funds. And that last application was 160 pages long. Andrea, did you want to add to that? I didn't mean to cut you off.
Nope, that's fine. Thank you.
Steve, do you have a question?
Yeah, I would
comment?
just like to thank Andrea for doing this. It's a good job. It accurately reflects our upcoming costs, I think, to the best that we can estimate at least. And most of the increase we have, besides the one-time fees, we've actually come in pretty close or under last year's budget. So good effort.
Thank you. I do want to make sure that I'll send you up, Erica, the updated form here. It's 102,872 is what we're requesting.
Okay. Any other questions from WPCA members?
So I did want a motion to accept this from the members, to accept this budget as presented so I can send it in to the finance director. So my motion is after, I guess we've already had discussion. My motion is to accept the budget presented with at $102,872, so I can present this with a justification to the finance director.
Okay. Is that your complete motion? I think that's good.
Yep, that's my motion.
Okay. Second it?
Could I just, should we say subject to
I'm just go ahead.
subject to finance review? Does it go?
Oh, yes, that,
No,
so
it's,
I'm
we're
submitting it.
submitting the budget. Go ahead.
Do you want to say it, Rich? Go ahead.
We're submitting the budget. Board of Finance may or may not approve it.
Right. Oh, okay. All right. So, well, we can,
They end it too. They may tell us we approved
Right.
it and we changed it for you, or they
so
could
the
question us.
motion is to submit this budget to the Board of Finance.
Yes.
Correct. Well, yes, it goes to the finance director who
Yep.
submits it to the Board of Finance for review.
Okay. Very good.
Any other questions?
Was it seconded?
I'll be
actually-
happy to second it. This is Randy.
Okay. Thank you, Randy.
Randy.
You know what? I wasn't sure if it was seconded.
Andrea, very good work. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yes, thank you, Andrea.
All right. So let's, any questions about the budget proposal? Okay, let's call for a vote. I'm gonna poll you. So Andrea, how do you vote?
Yay.
Steve, how do you vote?
Yay.
Dimitri, how do you vote?
Yes.
Corey, how do you vote?
Yes.
Randy, how do you vote?
Yes.
Brad?
Yeah.
Thank you. Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Okay. I'm gonna stop sharing this. Go back to the agenda. So we're on item 4, the executive session. And I want to explain this. This might be to some people complicated if we've never done this before, and it is somewhat complicated. Not really, I guess. So the WPCA members are gonna leave this meeting and they're gonna go into a separate session, and this meeting will continue. Not much will happen or nothing will happen. Our clerk, Erica, will monitor this meeting. While we're in the executive session, we will have a discussion about an intermunicipal agreement, some recent things that have happened, and our strategy. The reason we're having the executive session is that if we had it in the general public for this contract negotiation, it might hurt the leverage of the town in negotiating such contracts. No motions or decisions can be made in the executive session. So if we have a decision or something, we'll come out and go back to the regular meeting, and there might be a motion, there might not. Does any WPCA members have any questions about this?
You know what,
Okay,
Rich?
so-
I have one question about the process. This is Andrea. If I mute and minimize, is that, or do I have to completely get out of this session and then come back in?
I would rather you completely get out of this session,
Okay.
and that's what I was about to say, because there's one case where someone was in both sessions and it caused some audio problems. So we're all going to leave and open up the other session, and then when we're done with that session, we'll all come back. So at this time, I'd ask the WPCA members to sign out, and my Asia phone call just started. Not tonight. So I'll meet you at the executive session.
Now let me leave. Leave meeting.
Andrea, I can still see you in the general session.
I've left this meeting 4 times. End meeting. Leave meeting. Okay.
Hello, Erica. Rich back.
Hello.
We're all WPCA members back to the regular meeting tonight. We had a good discussion. It was an important discussion. No decisions were made. No orders were made. No anything like that. But an update on the strategic situation. And we'll get back to our regular agenda once we confirm that all the WPC members are back online.
Can you hear me, Rich?
I can.
Can you see me?
I can. You're a little blurry, but maybe it's me. Well, my glasses are on right. So Steve, Randy, Andrea, Dimitri, Corey.
Dimitri, Jim.
I think that's it, right? Is Andrea? No, there's Andrea.
I'm
Yep.
here.
So Dimitri, Andrea, Steve, Corey, and Randy. Okay, we're all back.
Brad? Is Brad
So.
here? Is Brad here? I think we're missing Brad.
Yeah.
Might take
We'll give it a second,
probably
yeah.
getting the first time. Let me text him and make sure he knows to go back in.
So you text him, Steve?
Yeah, I'll do that now.
So bear with us, public, while we get the members back on. I don't like doing the executive session because of this disruption, but it was needed. Brad, you're not already on and we don't realize it, are you?
I
And
don't
if you're
see him in the
speaking-
participants list.
Yeah, but there's a couple call-ins that I don't know who they are.
All right.
Well, we're gonna have to get going. It doesn't come on soon. Well, we are still recording.
All right.
Why don't we get going? And if Corey comes in, I'm
Brad.
sorry, Corey's already here. Brad comes in. He can just join us. So the next thing is the election of WPCA officers, and we do this every year. I think it's a great idea. I'd like to make some comments about the process. That the way we're going to do this is we're going to have a vote for each position, the chairman, the vice chairman, and treasurer. People can vote for themselves. People can nominate themselves. The chairman, generally myself, would do tiebreakers, but the chairman can vote for himself or vote for someone else or tie or vote or not vote. The way this works is we're making a motion to elect a new officer for the beginning of the next regular scheduled meeting. So even if we vote for different changes tonight, we it doesn't take effect until the next meeting. That way we don't lose control of what's what. If there's a tie in votes, that's considered a not going forward motion. We'll have to figure out and re-vote. Hopefully there won't be a tie. I've had discussions with Steve, and I'm going to let Steve talk about it in a minute, this afternoon, that he's interested in becoming the chairman, and I'm fine with that. I think it's fine to change the positions around. I think it's also fine if you disagree with other board members. It doesn't have to be everything, everyone vote for the same person. It's perfectly fine. You're not going to hurt my feelings. I don't think you're going to hurt Steve's feelings. I've been doing this for a while, and I'm happy to let someone else take the reins. Now, I'm going to be quiet. Steve, do you want to make any comments? Because I think we're going to go the first position is the chairman position.
Yeah, I'd just like to make a couple of statements. So I think Brad is going to try to call in. Number one, Rich, you've certainly done this a long time and have done a good job moving this project forward and running the WPCA. At this point in the stage of where everything is, I think that I can lend some experience and a little like new drive to push us over the goal line and get this started. It took a while for me to decide whether I wanted to. I mean, I've always wanted to run when the project became viable and ready to go, because I really do think my experience in that aspect would be a great help. But I think we just need to have a little more planning and organization gearing up for a project such as this. And so I thank you for your understanding and hope that you can support me.
I should have mentioned that I do support Steve, and I did support him. My text message, as I was riding on the bus this afternoon, talking about this. I think that's one thing I like about this group is we have a lot of people that are trying to do good, trying to do right for the whole residents of Old Lyme. I think we've had some really good debates, and the debates have sometimes changed direction because we got some new perspectives, and it's made us better for us. So, anyways, before I launch into the thing, is there anyone else who would like to make a comment before we get into?
I want to ask you, Richard, why don't you continue?
Well, I can continue in some way, whether it be a member, whether it be a chairman, whether it be something else. Or, I don't, it's a tough question, Dimitri. I don't have any kind of qualms before continuing or not continuing. So, and let's say it changes. I'm not going to shut off my phone and never hear from me again. Somebody has a question, I'll always answer. I always have. So I hope that answers your question. Anyone else before we get into this? Okay. So I'm making a motion, and chairman's allowed to make motions, but it's unusual. But so I'm making a motion that we pick a chairman for the coming year, beginning on the next regular WPCA meeting, and accept nominations and with the majority rules. Can I have a second on that motion?
Second. I'll second it.
Thank you. Open discussion. Okay, now we need to vote on that motion, and then we'll do the nominations. So, Dimitri, what do you say on that motion to select the new chairman?
I will vote yes.
Okay, Steve, what do you say?
Yes.
Randy, what do you say?
Yes.
Andrea, what do you say?
Yes.
Corey, What do you say?
Yes.
I don't think Brad is here yet.
Let me,
No, I'm here.
Oh,
Thank
Brad,
you.
great. Thank you. Brad, what do you say?
Yes.
Okay. So motion carried. So now I'd like somebody to ask for nominations for a new chairman or a chairman.
I recommend Steve.
Was that
I'll-
Corey?
Was
Or
that
was that
Corey?
Brad.
Brad?
Brad. Thank you, Brad.
I'll second Steve.
Okay. Okay. Any other nominations for chairman?
Do you want to be nominated?
I didn't nominate myself, no. Okay, so closing nominations. Steve, you might have this. I don't know. We'll see.
you never know, Rich.
Uh,
I might have to be the tiebreaker.
So, Steve, for the nomination of Steve Tsunami for the chairman, how do you vote? Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay. Randy, I'm going in order that I see tiles. So, Randy, how do you vote?
Yes.
Andrea, how do you vote?
Yay, yes.
Thank you. Dimitri, how do you vote?
Yes.
Corey, how do you vote?
Yes.
Did I miss anyone?
Brad.
Brad.
Brad,
Yeah.
sorry, Brad.
Yeah, it's
Yes,
okay. I
okay.
thought I said yes already, but yes.
Okay. So motion carries. Steve, you are our new chairman effective the next regular scheduled meeting. Congratulations.
Thanks. I think.
Okay. So the next position is the vice chair.
So
Uh,
I do want to say thank you, Rich, for the years of service that you have. Even through
You're
your
welcome.
New Hampshire vacation.
Yeah, that was fun. I met a new neighbor. Steve,
I'd like to nominate Corey for vice chair.
okay. Corey, do you accept the nomination?
I do.
Technically, we probably should have did a motion to do the vice chair. Just to be on the safe side, let's go through this ridiculous thing about making a nomination.
Okay.
Excuse me. Make a motion to elect a vice chair to begin regular business at the next scheduled WPCA meeting.
This is
Yeah,
Randy.
second.
I make a motion.
Okay. Thank you. So open discussion. Okay. Roll call for votes. Steve, how do you vote for them to elect a vice chair? Yes
Aye.
or no? Aye. Andrea, how do you vote?
Yes.
Randy, how do you vote?
Yes.
Corey, how do you vote?
Yes.
Dimitri, how do you vote?
Yes.
Brad, how do you vote?
Yes.
Okay, so motions carries. Now we have a nomination for Corey. Now we'll do votes for Corey.
Well, are there any other nominations? I guess.
Okay, yeah. Are there any other nominations?
Are you interested? Rich?
I didn't nominate myself, so, but thank you for asking. I'm okay without it. I'm okay to be a regular member. Any other nominations? Okay. So again, I'm going to poll on the tiles. Corey, how do you vote?
Yes.
Andrea, how do you vote?
Yes.
Steve, how do you vote?
Yes.
Randy, how do you vote?
Yes.
Dimitri, how do you vote?
yes,
And Brad, how do you vote?
Yes.
So Corey, congratulations, you are new vice chair.
Well, thank you.
Let me give you some advice. You're not alone. So you ask questions, you answers for us.
Well, I appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Thank you. So now I'd like to make a nomination, a motion that we elect treasurer for the WPCA beginning of the next regular WPCA meeting. Can I have a second?
Yes.
second,
Steve seconded. Randy, how do you vote?
Yes.
Corey, how do you vote?
Yes.
Andrea, how do you vote?
yes,
Steve, how do you vote?
Yes.
Dimitri, how do you vote?
yes,
Brad, how do you vote?
Yes.
Okay, so we are now making nominations for the treasurer for the regular WPCA meeting. Steve, do you have a nomination?
I'd like to nominate Andrea as treasurer. I think she's done a great job, and would look forward for another year of that at least.
Andrea, do you accept the nomination?
yes, thank you, with a lot of humility.
Any other nominations for treasurer? Okay. So for those nominating Andrea for the treasurer, Dimitri, how do you vote?
yes,
Andrea, how do you vote?
Yes,
Steve, how do you vote?
Yes.
Randy, how do you vote?
Yes.
Brad, how do you vote? I'm going to skip over Brad for a moment. Corey, how do you vote?
Yes.
Brad, how do you vote? We didn't hear you vote last time. Did we lose Brad?
He's muted.
You're muted,
Does
Brad.
he know he's muted, or did you mute him?
I did not mute him. I don't see Brad though.
can he call in with his phone?
There he is. He's back on it.
Hey,
Is he
Brad,
caller
I don't know if you
7?
can hear us. I don't know.
Brad? I don't know.
Well, you have enough votes, Andrea, so Brad will not be recorded as voting, but you have enough votes. So congratulations, you are the new treasurer of the old treasurer,
The old new.
the old
So
new.
so
So
we're doing these terms every year?
we do.
Wasn't
It's
there a
not
Oh, I'm
time?
exact.
back. I'm in.
Oh.
I'm in. Yay.
Thank
Okay,
you,
Brad,
Brad.
we
We have a lot of weather here, sorry.
That's
yeah,
okay, thank
understood.
you.
So we are done with the nominations of elections. Did you have a question, Andrea?
Yeah, so we're gonna do these every year. These are year terms.
We do this, so we're the first selectman appoints us to this committee, and then
Right.
we elect officers, and we do it every year.
And our
We could
appointments for
decide to
two.
not do it every year, but it's not a bad idea to check to do it every year, in my opinion.
Okay.
But the new chairman can propose changing those rules, and they're not hard, fast rules. I've seen other committees where they do it the same time, and then someone can make a motion in a regular meeting under new business to elect new officers if they want.
Okay.
Um,
But
if-
our appointment is 2 years.
So your appointment to committee is 2 years, and some of you have to, redo your appointments and get sworn in. That's different than this. This is
Yes.
electing officers and such.
Yeah, no, I get that. Okay.
Okay.
The only thing is at one point, now, I've been on too many of these. Don't we try to rotate officers so it's staggering the terms? Had we ever done that
So
with this group?
appointment to this committee, those terms are rotating. So like there's 3 people that their term is expiring January 31st.
Mm-hmm.
You're one of them, as you know,
Yep.
and there's others that are not expiring January 31st. So the terms are staggered. And the idea there is so we don't get everybody expire at the same time and the whole committee fall apart.
Right. Okay. Thank
All
you.
right, I'm going to move on to the next items, which actually are, the big thing that we do, but there hasn't been much going on. So, the Soundview Sewer and Miscellaneous Area B project, Clean Water Fund application status. There has been no movement on that. We submitted it before the holiday. We were told maybe in a couple of weeks after the holiday, which is now, that it would be circulating for signatures. We hoped that by the end of this month, that application will be completed. We'll be able to submit our invoices for up to 60% of the design project, then pay Woodard and Curran the money they have been patiently waiting for, and then they can start working on completing the design to the next phases. I will follow up with the states tomorrow. I'll copy Steve on that, and that's just kind of a pushing the person we have at the state to see what the status or where the signature process is. Any questions about that? Okay. Status of additional funding and grant applications. There's no new news on that other than, if you haven't heard, we did get additional funding from the state in the form of forgivable loan. We have a Clean Water Fund application, and the plan is that that additional funding will go towards the shared resources, and our part of the share and the other beach association part of the share will likely get paid out of this additional funding. We have to go out to bid. The beach associations have to go out to rebid. We're hopeful that the price tag on this has stayed the same or gone down. But the additional funding, we have an application and a template. But we have to go out to bid before we can fill out that application because we don't know how much money the bids are going to be. Any questions on that? Okay. Moving on to correspondence. We've had a couple correspondences. Oh,
Rich?
yes, go ahead.
I don't have a question on those, but I think I have old business. Might be considered new
Okay.
business, but I did have a follow-up on
Oh, that's right.
pumping reporting.
Yes.
So I checked with I read a lot of the state statutes which talk about certification of pumpers, but nothing which what we were looking for. I went to Legislate and spoke with them, and they said that because the town has an ordinance, they have to follow our ordinance. Now, our ordinance says that they can that they have to report it. Health departments don't require, the state health department does not require reporting of septic pumping. We require it in our ordinance, and therefore they should follow it. I think we could tighten up some of the wording so that if it's found out that companies are not, they are not allowed to pump out of our, they wouldn't be allowed to pump in our town if they don't follow our ordinance. But I think that ordinance is going to need some rework in order to do that. I would suggest we look at it and maybe put it on the same town hall vote as the sewer ordinance after we've reviewed it and approved it. But right now, our ordinance does state that the pumper is responsible to notify our health department. The problem with that is that I don't think there's any really way to enforce it.
Okay. The correspondence I've gotten, and the residents have been pretty helpful with this. I've explained to them, or our clerk has explained to them, the reason why the record's not updated is the pumper didn't put in the update. And would you please call your pumper or hauler and ask them to do that? And I've not gotten anyone to say no, they won't. And I've also added in that if you give us some evidence of some sort, we can update the record if the pumper refuses to. And maybe we do publish a list of, we'll have to check with legal on this, I would think, a list of preferred pumpers, not necessarily recommended, but ones that follow the rules. And we have to be careful not to defame any pumper or hauler, get in trouble. But some are better than others, But we've gotten, I think, 3 or 4 pumpers that have applied to have access that weren't before, which suggests that they're going to update the records. So all in all, I think we've made a huge improvement of improving our database and informing residents, and the people that have called in or sent an email and have said stuff like, well, my house was pumped, but they wanted to correct it. They weren't mad at us. So, I mean, there have been a couple that just feel like they should never have to pump, but that's rare.
Hey, Rich.
So we should look into this, but I think it is getting better. So I think that's a positive though. Yes, Randy.
Sorry to go backwards, but on the terms of WPCA members, I mean, I was appointed some time ago. When is my term ending?
2035.
20, oh, well, boy, I can hardly wait for that.
I don't know off the top of my head, but we can look at your term, and if you also go to the town website, it has the list of members and their terms.
I haven't looked at it because I've been pretty darn busy, but
we remind you, so I got a reminder from the first selectman's office about whose terms were expiring, and we sent out an email to them to ask them to confirm that they want to continue in their term.
Right. Well,
you're not going to miss it, Randy.
Okay. Well, the other thing that I wanted to say, which is more important, is that I think I speak on behalf of everybody on the WPCA, all of the members, that we have huge respect for your effort and your diligence over all these years, and your knowledge of all of the things that have come before today, and I have to tell you, nothing but respect and admiration for the hard work you've done on behalf of the town. You've done nothing but a consummate gentleman, and handled it professionally and competently. So thank you.
You're welcome, and thank you for the kind words. I got into this trying to solve problems, and I care about my reputation. I care about the town, and I know it's impossible to please everyone, but I'm trying, or I tried. And I'm not going away. I'm still going to be around. So if there's questions or something I can give or whatever, I'll work with Steve to figure out the transition of if there's any files or whatever. So yeah, thanks.
You bet.
So are we done with the Clean Water Fund application and the status of additional funding grants? I think we're on to correspondence. So the correspondence, we had a couple, like I said, a couple people have said, hey, they got the pump out incorrectly. They pumped out last year. They just bought the house and they got it pumped out, but no other real correspondence. And didn't really expect a lot this time of year, December. It gets a little quiet, which is people are busy doing their holiday stuff. I'm going to move on to the next item, new business. Any new business from WPCA members? Okay. Now moving to public comment. If you haven't heard this before, probably you have heard it. Public comment is a time where the public can make a comment about WPCA issues. We generally don't go into a question back and forth. We'll let you make your public comments, and then we may or may not answer it in the back at the end of it. The way to do public comment, if you could say your name, and what I'll do is I'll recognize you, and you'll be able to speak and go from there. So would anyone in the public like to make a comment? And
Rich, make sure you
might be
unmute
new.
everyone.
Well, I think they're set up so they can. I think they are set up so they can unmute themselves. Good point, though, Steve. I don't want to.
I don't think they'd be able to tell you if they're not.
So, Jim Lampos, I don't know if you're listening. Can you unmute yourself just to confirm that you?
Hey, Rich, can you hear me?
Yes.
Alrighty.
Okay,
Yep.
so we've confirmed that the people that weren't WPCA members can unmute themselves. Would anyone like to make a public comment? If you do, you have to unmute yourself. And I think you cover your name and there's a button at the bottom that says mute, unmute. I'm not hearing anybody that is saying their name to be recognized to do a public comment. And you're not required to make a public comment. But... All right. Closing public comment session. Now we're for adjournment. One of the best motions of the evening, probably. A motion to adjourn, seconded.
Seconded
by Randy. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carried. This meeting's over. Thank you for attending. Thank you for participating, and have a good night and try and stay dry.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good night.
Good night, everybody.
Hey, Rich, thanks for everything.
You're welcome. Thank you.